I got another video on this F-350 Super Duty, four-wheel drive, dually. I'm going to be changing the caliper on this because if you see this, especially on the back of your rim tire, it's completely soaked. It's either going to be your axle seal or your caliper. So basically you could see it dripping from the caliper down here, not the axle seal. The axle seal is dry. So what I'm going to be doing is I got a non-loaded caliper because I already have new brake pads on here. When I did the brakes on this, I did my test drive and that's when this actually failed. So rule of thumb, no matter how many thousands of brake jobs you do, test it before you give it back to your customers or you send it out on the road, because some stupid thing could happen. You put something in wrong, or a caliper could break or whatever. So definitely test it. I'm gonna pause the video and I'm gonna set everything up and I'll show you. Okay, I'm back. I just wanted to show you a couple things. Basically what I did was, because I did not get the complete system, basically is the loaded caliper. So I had to basically break the old one down, get the brake pads, and I installed the mount back in. I put the brake pads back in, and I put the caliper on. So I tightened all the bolts, everything's set and ready for the hydraulic line. So what I did before mounting the caliper on, I had the caliper on the floor and I basically filled up the hole with as much brake fluid as I could basically get in there. So once you do that, when you put this caliper in place, you will have some that will drip out or run out of the hole. But you're better off doing that, because if you were to try to fill this entire thing up, it will take you a while. And now you only have from the hole to the air bleeder to fill up, which is a lot quicker. On your hydraulic line here, your brake line, you have your bolt, your gasket, and then sometimes, depending on the vehicle, the year, make, or whatever, you'll have another one on the other side. This one doesn't seem to have one on the other side, but I'll see when I get it off. This kit did not come with new gaskets on either side, so I'm going to be reusing these washers. So I'm going to try to clean this all off really good, keep them in place, try not to get any dirt, and I'm going to install it onto here. So let me go ahead and do that and I'll get right back to you. Okay, we're all set. So I got this all set. Now I did find that there is a brass washer on both sides to make that seal. Now just keep in mind, when you tighten this, don't put it on super tight, because you can strip or break this. You want to get it on tight enough it doesn't leak, but not so tight where you strip it out. If you're using something this long, and you can't really tell by the video, so let me give you a comparison. This is normal size. This is extra length. What you want to do is, if you're using standard size, you can, kind of put some pressure on it. Don't go too crazy. If you want to be safe, use one of those. So this way, when you put it on tight, you don't have that leverage, and you're not going to break or strip that stud that goes in. So just to give you an idea, because a lot of problems tend to where people over tighten stuff, especially hydraulic fittings and all. They break and strip very easily. While I was doing this and I did the transfer, I left the cap on. This way the air doesn't come in as fast, it doesn't pour out. So what I'll do now is I'll take this cap off. Now on pretty much all vehicles, it's going to tell you on it what you're supposed to use. Use only .3 brake fluid. It'll say it's somewhere in here with all this writing and everything, but it does say it. It says only .3. So basically, always look on your cap. Don't think, oh, it's a new vehicle, I can use .4. This is pretty much a new vehicle, and it's saying .3. So what I'm going to use is .3 and .4. So we're going to come up here. I'm going to use a 3/8 wrench, and we're going to loosen up our bleeder and let that sit. We're basically using the gravity method right now. We're just letting the gravity pull down the brake fluid, and it'll slowly start feeding. It'll fill all this up, and then once it fills up, it'll start coming out. Once it starts coming out, you got to make sure, obviously, you got to keep an eye on your tank here. Make sure you don't drop down too far. And once it starts coming out also, you want to check for air bubbles. Once the air bubbles go away, then you can tighten it up, pump up the brakes slow. Don't do it fast because you don't want to create air bubbles in the system. Do it nice and slow. Then you'll practice and do it a couple of times. So let me pause this boring part, and then once I get it to come out, once it starts coming out, then I'll show you how to pump up the brakes and make sure that there's no air in the system. Alright guys, it's dripping out now. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to wait, make sure there's no air bubbles coming out. Sometimes it won't come out this fast. Sometimes it'll just drip a little bit. As soon as you see it starting to drip, close it up and then pump. Basically what you're going to do is you're going to pump up the brakes. Just put it on there snug. Without the truck on, don't turn the vehicle on. Just slowly pump up the brakes. Try not to do it too fast because you can cause air bubbles. Plus you have the cap off the top of the tank, so you don't want to have it shooting out the brake reservoir. So that feels pretty good right there. It's pretty solid. So we're going to come back out and we're going to do it again. So we're doing pretty good. No air bubbles. So I'm going to tighten it up and do it one more time. So you basically repeat this process until you have no air, the brake pedal feels normal, and then tighten everything up. You'll put your tire on, take it for a test drive, make sure everything feels fine, everything sounds fine, and then as long as everything's good, then you know you're safe. Make sure that your level is correct after you're done with the bleeding process. I'll have to fill this up because I'm supposed to be right around there. Nice little oil mark there. So I'll be filling this up. I'll take it for my test drive, and then hopefully everything's fine, and then the truck will go out on Monday. Thanks for watching my video. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions, comments, please let me know.